Welcome all to another episode of your favorite podcast. Targo, how the hell are you, buddy?
How are you doing, man? I'm doing pretty good.
I'm doing good, man. We get to talk about the fun stuff today.
The fun stuff.
The fun stuff. We got news, rumors, challengers, and winners. It's the fun stuff, and we get to finally ramble on about our beloved Arsenal. So, what are you drinking today?
I am drinking Iron Horse Brewery Velvet Shine Hazy Pale Ale.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
Tastes fun, too.
Nice.
I like it.
Good. I know it's hit or miss with those IPAs, especially from Iron Horse, so that's a good one.
Well, this one's a Hazy Pale Ale.
Oh. Huh. Even better.
Yeah.
Nice. Today I got Hopworks Brewery Ferocious Citrus IPA. I don't know if you can see the monkey on there. Pretty fun.
It's like a zombie monkey.
Yeah, it looks nuts. But I've never had this before either, so this should be fun because I actually have an IPA.
Your can is cooler. Mine's just like DJ spinning a disc.
Well, judging by the taste of this, I'm sure yours tastes better.
Yeah, not a fan of it.
It's not terrible, but it's not great. I give it like a B-, B somewhere in there. So
out of 10, how much?
Out of 10, and probably like a 5.5, 6.
That's not bad. I give this a 7.5, 8.
Pretty good. All right. Well, without further ado, those are our brews. Let's get to some banter. Welcome to Brews and Banter. Make sure to check out our socials: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Make sure to check out our Redbubble for our merch. Links all down below. So without further ado, Targo, let's get into the news and transfers, shall we?
There's lots to cover.
A lot of them. And probably the biggest one of all of them.
Maybe Declan
Rice. Declan Rice. Well, it's at least the highest transfer fee.
That is true.
Yeah. Declan Rice is officially signed for Arsenal, making him their most expensive transfer ever, as well as the highest fee ever paid for an English player. Target, what does this mean for the Gunners?
It's a statement, I would say. I mean, they spent a lot of money on him. Whether he was worth that much, that's up for discussion, I would say. But in today's market, I think it's kind of what you got to pay for to get him.
Yeah. Thoughts of Arsenal getting potentially a world-class player in Declan Rice?
Oh, he's definitely a class player, that's for sure. I mean, he makes Arsenal better, 100%. This kind of whole transfer window so far has been a statement from Arsenal, going out there and getting their signings early. Kai Havertz, Declan Rice, and Jurrien Timber.
Yeah. As well as signing their, up-and-coming big-name stars to new contracts. I mean, William Saliba just signed a 4-year contract, Bukayo Saka, Aaron Ramsdale, Gabriel Martinelli, and then Reece Nelson as well. Times are looking different and good for Arsenal fans.
Expectations, I would say, are high.
They vary, yes.
Especially after spending $200 million.
And then news out that Arsenal had an 80 million euro offer for Tchouaméni rejected. Surprise you?
Is that actually real or just a rumor?
No, that is a real thing.
Not surprised. I don't think Real Madrid would let him go.
I don't either, but he's fallen down the pecking order, and with the addition of Bellingham, at least tempt them to maybe sell him.
I don't think so. He's still young, like 23. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a bright future ahead of him, that's for sure. And then heading across London to Tottenham Hotspur have signed James Maddison for, I guess, their 4th signing of the summer. And then they signed Manar Solomon from Fulham after delaying medical tests a week for their 5th. So quietly doing some good business there.
Yeah, I would say it's pretty good. It's nothing spectacular getting James Maddison, but it's a player they needed, a creative midfielder, someone to help create some goals for Harry Kane.
Yeah. And I mean, there's going to be a lot of questions of whether or not he can stay healthy. How are they going to line up with him there? Is he going to play more as a number 10? Is he going to play more as a 8 per se? I don't know.
think it'll be a 10.
Yeah. We'll see.
Postecoglou, I think he likes that 4-4-2 formation. I started doing a little research on him after they signed him. I'm curious about the fullback positions for Tottenham because Antonio Conte was playing that back three with wingbacks, and are Tottenham going to play that formation again? I don't know.
They're going to put Perisic out on the left? I don't know.
Is Perisic really a fullback or a winger?
No, I was just going to say, he's not really a fullback.
Same kind of with Pedro Porro, who they just signed. Is he a fullback or a winger?
Yeah.
Doesn't look very... I mean, you'll remember the last time he played fullback for Tottenham was against Newcastle. We know how that went. 5 goals in 20 minutes.
So, we'll see. What do you guys think of Tottenham signing so far? They all seem to be quite under the radar.
I think that Solomon signing could be good for him.
Yeah, I agree. Especially if he plays and improves on what he did last year. Next up, we got the PSG coaching carousel. It has a new victim in Luis Enrique. Thought about this signing.
Looks good on paper.
It does.
Gets to rejoin Neymar back from his Barcelona days. Probably a different...
Might be the only big name star there by the time he actually starts with them, but
potentially, yeah. But I mean, that was Neymar 8 years ago or whatever it was, so
yeah,
probably not the same Neymar.
No, not at all.
Well, I'll talk good about Luis Enrique until PSG fires him next year,
or halfway through the season.
Seems to be how it goes with that team.
New coach every year, see if one sticks.
Yep.
Liverpool have signed Dominic Szoboszlai from RB Leipzig for $60 million. Where did this money come from?
It's a good signing. I mean,
it's a great, brilliant signing.
Well, you think they had about $100 million to spend, and I mean, when you get a coup like McAllister for $35 million.
Yeah, Szoboszlai for 60. I mean, they got $5 million left until they sell some players, if they do.
Curious to see where he plays in that Jurgen Klopp system. If he plays I'm guessing it's going to be in the midfield.
I would think so, but
I know
they're putting Alexander-Arnold in the midfield. Now it's starting to get crowded.
Yeah, I don't know, because I mean, when he played for RB Leipzig, he was more of that kind of floating 10 or kind of 10 that would drift off to a wing.
Yeah.
So we'll see where he plays for Liverpool.
Either way, I think it's a solid signing.
Oh, nice, fantastic young player. Great potential.
Exactly. The players to Saudi Arabia rumors keep flying. Now they're trying to raid Manchester City with Riyad Mahrez in talks to sign for Al Ahly, and Bernardo Silva offered about $500K a week to join Al Hilal.
It's a lot of money. I don't think he'll go, though. Bernardo Silva. Maybe Riyad Mahrez.
Riyad Mahrez is on the other side of 30. It's possible, but it doesn't make sense for either one of them, to be honest with you. Who knows? Christian Pulisic has agreed to terms with AC Milan, but Chelsea are being stubborn about the fee. Latest bid at €20. Chelsea wants something closer to 30. Pulisic worth that much?
Yeah, I think he is. I'm curious to see where he plays as well. I mean, he'd probably have to go in on the right, because Rafael Leao will play on the left. But I think it'd be a good signing.
It'd be a great signing for Milan. Whether or not he starts and stays healthy again, same as James
It's
Maddison.
The healthy thing, man. The guy can't get a run of 10 games, it seems like.
Yeah, unless he's playing for the U.S. national team, and then he always plays.
Right.
Manchester United have signed Mason Mount for a total of $60 million, 55 up front with 5 in add-ons. Good signing for Man United?
I don't know, man. Where's he play? It's kind of almost like Szoboszlai. Where's he play?
I would think he would take Eriksen's spot. Because Eriksen's, coming up on, I think, 32.
You're going to leave aging Casemiro in the middle of that midfield to do all the defensive work?
I mean, that's what they did last season, so...
not all the time. They had Fred in there. Eriksen sat deeper. But, because, I mean, you expect that midfield to be a Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes, and Mason Mount.
Yeah. We'll see.
Unless you throw Mason Mount on that right wing, where Anthony and Jadon Sancho have been playing.
It's possible. You can put Bruno out there too. They're both not natural wingers, so I don't really know exactly how it fits into that system, and if Ten Hag can get the best out of Mason Mount.
I think there were glaring holes in other parts of that team that probably needed to be fixed before 60 million on Mason Mount.
Kind of freeing up some of that wage bill.
Some that space Wout Weghorst took up probably needed fixing first.
100%. Atletico Madrid have signed Cesar Azpilicueta on free transfer after his 11 years at Chelsea. I think it's a great signing for them. What do you think?
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, the guy won everything there is to win with Chelsea, heading off to his home country. Good for him.
Good for him. Barcelona and Samuel Umtiti have agreed to mutual termination of his contract. I'll be honest with you, I almost forgot that he even played for Barcelona still because he never made it onto the field.
Well, I mean, he was on loan in Italy. I forget what team he was on. Some team in Serie A. But yeah, I mean, he had like that couple good seasons, got his big paycheck, and then just was like, well, I'm done.
Yeah, another guy who has the injury bug pretty bad. Never seems to stay healthy. Sticking with Barcelona, they've signed Inigo Martinez from Athletic Club for free.
Yeah, center back.
Seems to be how they're doing most of their business this year. Probably a good thing, but they still need to get rid of
all the financial issues they have, for sure, good thing.
And then we'll stick with the free transfers to Spain. Atletico have also signed, was it Keglar Seonchu on free transfer?
Yeah, the Leicester defender.
Yeah, who was hurt all season.
It seems like he was hurt, but then he also couldn't get in the team. And, you know, last year I thought he was pretty impressive for the most part.
100%.
But man, he started making some howlers.
Yeah, so did Wout Feist, though. So which one with the crazy hair works better for you? I don't know.
It was hard to tell them apart, if I'm being honest, man.
No, really. One's got an afro, the other one's got a man bun. I don't know. Inter have signed David Fertesi on loan from Sassuolo with an obligation to buy him at the end of the season. I feel like this is a major coup for Inter.
That's a good signing. Yeah. That's a good signing, man.
Especially nothing up front.
Good signing.
Huge signing for them.
He was impressive last season.
Yes, he was. Real Madrid have signed the Mercurial wonder kid Ada Güler from Fenerbahce. He's 18 years old, following in the footsteps of his idol, Mesut Ozil, and also beating Barcelona to his signature. Kind of out of nowhere, to be honest with
you. Young Turkish player. Haven't heard much or seen much about him. I know he's a Turkish international. He's got a few caps for the national team, so we'll see what he can do at Real Madrid.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes out on loan with the depth they have in midfield, but we'll see. Time will tell. Manchester United have increased their offer for Andre Onana to 50 million euros total after David De Gea's contract expired, and he's technically a free agent.
He is. That's an interesting one.
I know.
I don't understand United's transfer business here this summer, man. I don't.
It's so confusing.
What are they doing?
I don't know. And with the takeover talks, are they going to stay with the big thing?
The takeover, man. Yeah, it's like a trickle down effect. All that's affecting everything else, and it's not good. Not good for Man United.
Granit Xhaka is officially signed for Bayer Leverkusen for 25 mil from Arsenal. We had some ups and downs, Granit Xhaka and Arsenal fan base, but I think he'll be regarded as a faithful servant of Arsenal. Once a Gooner, always a Gooner.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. He prior to this last year, I was a Xhaka out all the way, man.
I know.
Last season, he did perform wonderfully, and now had his one good season, and he's out, leaving on a high.
Yeah, well, I think having paid 30 mil for him when that was 7 years ago, getting 25 for him now, and he's 30. I think that's pretty good business with 1 year left on his contract by Arsenal.
Yeah, and they just got Declan Rice, so they needed to ship someone out.
And Kai Havertz, who will probably take Granit Xhaka's spot in the lineup. So, yeah, they got to ship out a few players.
You think
we'll
he
get
will?
to that a little later. We'll get to that a little later.
I guess we will. We will.
Angel Di Maria has returned to Benfica on free transfer. Pretty good to hear a homecoming by at least one player.
Yeah, we'll see how he does. I mean, Benfica killed it last year in Portugal.
Yeah. I don't really know if he has a regular starting spot, but at least adds quality and depth.
Di Maria, I would say, didn't have the best season at Juve.
No. He had some fantastic goals that meant a lot, but at the end of the day, they didn't make the Champions League, so it really doesn't matter a whole lot.
We'll see how he does. I mean, he's getting up there. How old is Angel Di Maria?
He's 32, 33, somewhere in there.
Is he? I thought he might have been even older than that, man.
Yeah, he looks older, I'll tell you that.
I mean, he's looked like that since he was
playing for Benfica the first time.
Yeah, right. Real Madrid.
Yeah. Just shows
so he's 35.
Okay. I was way off. Yeah. Shows you how much aging happens when you go to Manchester United. Inter Miami in talks to add Jordi Alba and Andres Iniesta to join their former teammates Leo Messi and Sergio Busquets at Inter Miami. Thoughts on these signings?
They're just trying to get all the old Barca guys together.
Right.
We'll see, man. I don't know how Inter Miami's going to do. They're in last place. Like, is Messi going to make those guys in that team better? Or is Messi just going to be like, whatever, and just kind of mosey along?
Whatever. Yeah.
Lose the motivation, so to speak. I don't know.
I'm very interested to see what actually happens, but I think you're onto something there.
Now, if he's hungry and wants it, watch him score 60 goals, man.
He could easily. Kim Min-jae is signed for Bayern Munich from Napoli following his mandatory basic military training in South Korea. It took a while, but finally happened.
Oh, it's a fantastic defender. I will say, I feel like Bayern Munich had some pretty good defenders, but at least on paper.
Matthias de Ligt, definitely. Upa Maguire didn't do so well. So
No, but I remember there was one point where you were wanting him to come to your beloved Arsenal.
Yeah, there was one point before he turned into Harry Maguire. So, we'll see what happens there.
But right. Good signing. He'll definitely shore up that defense.
Yeah, and I think their defense will be much better, especially because how many goals they let in towards the end of the season there. It seemed like left and right, they couldn't keep the ball out of the net. Especially against Man City in a certain quarterfinal at the Etihad. Yeah. Speaking of Manchester City, what a year they had. They won the treble.
Ooh, I led you into a fantastic segue there, didn't I?
Why, thank you. So, let's get into Manchester City and the season they had last year and preview the upcoming season. So, they won the treble, man.
Does it get any better?
No, it really doesn't. I guess they could have won the Carabao Cup for the, 8th time running? Something like that. Yeah, that would be the quadruple would have been the only way for it to be better. So what grade do you give them for last season?
An A+++. 3 pluses for those 3 trophies, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to give them an A+, man. It's really not. I got to give them that as well. It seemed like no matter who they put on the field, it made them better.
That's
like every player except for Calvin Phillips. He's the only one that really didn't play.
Because he wasn't on the field, so he didn't get better.
Exactly. And he got fatter because the only time he played was for England in the World Cup. Anyways, do they need anything?
They lost Gundogan to Barcelona on a free. They went and got Mateo Kovacic from Chelsea for, was it 30 mil? 25, which I think is a steal.
Uh-huh.
And so honestly, unless players leave, I don't think they need to bring anyone in.
Well, I can tell you what they're linked to and what they're looking at. I mean, they're looking at
I know who they're linked to. Yeah, they're linked to a center back.
They're linked to. Have been looking at center mids. I know they put in a bid for Declan Rice, and then they are linked to right backs and left backs. I know they want to sell João Cancelo. Are they going to? I don't know.
I know Kyle Walker was rumored with Bayern Munich there for a minute.
Yeah, that's kind of cooled down, which it made perfect sense at the time. I don't know why it cooled down, but
Riyad Mahrez, as you mentioned earlier, is being linked to Saudi Arabia, Bernardo Silva. So unless they leave, then I don't know why you would bring someone in.
I don't know either. So yeah, I guess American Laporte probably will leave.
Sounds like he was, because they're looking at Josko Gvardiol.
Yeah, which I think that's like playing manager mode in FIFA. Oh yeah, we're gonna lose a okay center back, and we'll just go buy the best one in the world, who's only 21 years old. It's fine.
One of the best ones in the world. I don't know about the best. One of the best.
The best for his age.
There you go. I'll give you that.
So, say players leave. Who should they sign and who would be a good fit?
Well, I mean, it looks like the most likely is Laporte, and it looks like they're going after Gvardiol. So, I mean, there's your swap.
All right. What if Kyle Walker leaves? Who should they go for?
If Kyle Walker were to leave, I mean, they got John Stones. I'm guessing they might try to put him over there, bring Gvardiol in. Akanji is playing in that center. So, I mean, they'll have 3 good quality center backs.
They have 5.
They have a lot. But, I mean, obviously, I think the most obvious pick would be Jeremy Frimpong from Bayer Leverkusen.
Yeah, there's a guy who seems to be available for not very expensive, but Joshua Kimmich would be great too, especially the style that they play with one of the outside backs coming in and playing more of a midfield role.
Since that's what he plays anyway, most of the time it seems like.
Yeah.
For Munich.
But Pryor had played right back for a very long time. So that would be my pick, personally.
Okay.
What about Riyad Mahrez? What if he leaves?
Frimpong's Bayer Leverkusen compatriot, Moussa Diaby. Could also get a Wilfried Zaha for free. Mm-hmm. He's just chilling out there, waiting for a club.
Hanging out, waiting for contract offers.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Wilfried Zaha, that's an interesting one. I think that it kind of makes sense.
It's free. I mean, he's going to be a bench player, it seems like, anyway.
Yeah. I mean, he gets some quality playing time, but for him, winning a trophy.
And you can kind of move him all over that front 3.
Okay. If João Cancelo leaves, do you bring in anybody? Do you just let him go? He didn't really play last season.
I think you let him go because, I mean, you got Rico Lewis kind of sitting in the wings.
Yeah.
Nathan Ake has been playing left back. If they want to go get a left back, I mean, I can think of a couple. Obviously a one Teo Hernandez, one of the best.
One of the best.
Or you can look in the Premier League, get a Pervis Estupiñán from Brighton or a Rico Henry from Brentford, Anthony Robinson from Fulham. Those would all be. I know they were linked with Robinson for a minute there during the January transfer window.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, man. I don't think they really need anybody. I think it's shipping out more dead wood at this point, getting at least Cancelo's wages off the wage bill. I think Pervis Estupiñán would be a great signing for him. I think Teo Hernandez is too expensive, and he's going to.
I think he would be pricey. Oh yeah,
yeah. What if Bernardo Silva was to leave?
I was trying to think of Bernardo Silva-esque players, man. There's not a lot out there that do it like him.
There's not. I mean, you maybe name like 1 or 2, and they don't do it like him, but they're similar.
I mean, do they go play left back like he does? No. No. The guy does his defensive work, which I think is very admirable and impressive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For a guy who's so silky smooth on the ball, man.
Yeah, I mean, you could get Phil Foden to just take his place.
Could, yeah.
Or
I mean, Foden can swap for De Bruyne or Or Bernardo Silva.
Or Riyad Mahrez.
Or Riyad Mahrez. But if they had to go buy someone, I don't know. I was honestly thinking Michael Olise from Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Maybe Rafinha from Barca or a Serge Gnabry from Bayern Munich.
I was thinking more of Gabri Veiga, who can play, along in the midfield or out on the wing. Frankie de Jong was also another one. I mean, put him and De Bruyne in the same team. De Jong's a little more defensive, but man, they would, with Haaland up there, they would unlock some defenses, and that would be scary.
Woo. Yeah.
All right. Expectations for Manchester City next season. Is it a four-peat? Is it a treble? Domestic treble? Quadruple?
I think you expect them to win the Prem, don't you? I hope they don't, because
I hope they don't. But
however many, 3 is it now?
Yeah, they've 3 in a row. They won the FA Cup. They won the Carabao Cup, I think 4 or 5 times in a row before Manchester United won it. I don't know.
Obviously, we all expect
win everything. Club World Cup, Community Shield, all the trophies in England and the Champions League. I guess that would be the next step. Next to impossible to happen, but that's a lot of games.
You think about it, which team out there would you say can compete with the Man City we saw?
I don't know. Maybe this next team we're going to talk about, maybe. They've definitely closed the gap a little bit, but it was quite a gap. I think it was more like a canyon.
Honestly, if you think about it, the only team I can think of would be Real Madrid, but they need to go get a good striker.
Yeah. At least in the Champions League.
In the Champions League, yeah. In the Prem. England,
if Liverpool can get back to the heights they were, maybe. I know the Premier League will be much more competitive this year, but is anyone on the level of Manchester City with, an Erling Haaland getting better next year? No.
I've heard a lot of people say that all these teams are going to get better next year. And
so is Manchester City.
Statistically speaking, that's not the case every season, man.
No.
Last summer, you would expect, all these teams are going to get better. Chelsea and Liverpool did much worse.
Especially Chelsea. Tottenham did much worse. United did better. Arsenal surprised everybody. Newcastle did better.
So I don't know. I think
because no one was.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's a team out there that just regresses a bit.
Oh yeah, 100%. And
I think Newcastle might be one of those teams with the Champions League football they got going on.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah, I think Newcastle, maybe Manchester United regress a little bit.
I hate to say it, man, but I think maybe Arsenal.
We'll see. I mean,
I think the pressure is going to be on them. Expectations are high. Last year there was no expectations, nothing. Now there is. I don't know if that pressure gets to those youngsters, because it certainly got to them at the end of the season.
Last 2 years, it's definitely happened. So who knows? Especially with I guess Declan Rice coming in. He was a fantastic leader for West Ham, but Granit Xhaka, one of the team leaders at Arsenal, leaving. You think you would want more leaders, not less.
I'll be curious with Arsenal, because on paper, absolutely, it looks like they should be doing fantastic. But this game is not played on paper. Otherwise, PSG would be winning the Champions League every year.
Because, paper. So, expectations. I mean, realistically, the same as what the fans think, what everybody else thinks. It's winning every trophy under the sun. I think that's really the only way you can go up from there. I think the big question with Manchester City is really, is Pep able to keep all these guys at the top of their game all season, or do they get a little lax because they've won everything?
It's the ripe age question, man. How do you motivate a bunch of millionaires?
Yeah.
I just won every trophy, and it's Pep though, man. He demands it from him.
He does.
I don't think you'll see any lapse as long as Pep Guardiola is the coach.
I don't either. And even if they start slow, I mean, we saw it last season. They started slow pretty much all the way through the World Cup, and then all of a sudden there was nobody that could compete with them.
Yeah, you saw some of the Kevin De Bruyne's were a little slow to start, and then after the World Cup, caught on fire. Haaland just breaking records.
Yeah.
I would say Ruben Diaz looked a lot better after the World Cup.
Yeah. Yeah, it seemed like almost everybody on that team looked a lot better after the World Cup. Even Jack Grealish. I mean, he tore it up that whole second half of the season.
Yeah, Gundogan, I would probably say looked a lot better.
Yeah. But he's the man that always comes through in crunch time. So we'll see how they do without him, though. So I'm interested to see if Mateo Kovacic can fill those shoes.
They're different types of players, so I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. First 5 fixtures plus some other games thrown in there for Manchester City. They got the Community Shield against Arsenal on August 6th. Then they go at Burnley. Then they have the Super Cup on the 16th of August against Sevilla midweek. And then they play Newcastle at home. And then at Sheffield United, home to Fulham, away to West Ham, in what I think is a very easy opening schedule for them.
Newcastle's the only one I could see maybe giving them a little issue, but yeah.
At the Etihad, though, I don't know.
I said a little bit of an issue. I didn't say a big issue.
Yes. Okay.
I see maybe a potential draw as it.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, all those other games, you expect them to win them.
Yeah. I mean, they could have 3 trophies in 3 games, or 2 trophies in 3 games to start the
We'll
season.
see about the Community Shield, how up they are for it.
Yeah. I know. I think it's a great curtain raiser, but at the same time, most teams don't take it seriously. So
you'll see a lot of the sub players, bench players playing in that game. A lot of
trying things that they normally wouldn't try because it's almost like an exhibition game for a trophy.
It's like, yeah, like you said, another pregame before the season starts, pretty much.
Yeah. I think they've lost the last 2.
That's what I was thinking. I think they've lost a couple of them, so that's why I'm maybe they'll win that one, but
we'll see. So yeah, 15 points after the first 5 games.
Yeah, something like that.
I'm gonna go.
I'll see they'll get one draw in there.
Yeah, 13. I agree. I think that Newcastle game will be interesting, especially right at the beginning of the season, and the way Newcastle likes to play against bigger teams could be frustrating for them. We'll see. Okay, moving on to Arsenal. Will they be better? Won't they be better? They got second in the Premier League, led for the longest amount of time in the history of the Premier League to lose the title. It hurts. It was hard to watch. So what would your grade be for them last season?
I'd give them an A-, A maybe somewhere in there. Because I mean, they still did fantastic. Maybe an A-. I'll say A-.
Okay.
Because context matters.
Yeah.
They should have finished first. It was that game against West Ham, I think, was the real snowball effect.
Yeah. And then Liverpool and then Southampton. And those 3 right
so
there.
The Liverpool one, yeah, they were honestly a little lucky to get away with the win. Or a draw, pardon me.
Yeah.
But it was that West Ham, Saka misses that penalty. If that goes in, I think then they cruise on. They got that confidence. They don't then concede 3 goals to Southampton. They beat them. I mean, the Man City game, yeah, that was probably when they were always going to lose. But then, maybe the Forest game, the Brighton game, they play a little better on.
Yeah. I'm going to agree with the A-. I'm going to give them an A++ for the first half of the season because they were fantastic.
Till March, huh? Or whatever it was.
Until March. So the second half of the season, I give them a B, a B-, somewhere in there. Probably a B just to even it out. And A- it is. I almost said B+, but because they got second and I didn't think they would come anywhere near that at the beginning of the season, I got to give them at least a letter of an A.
All right.
Yeah. All right. So we know Arsenal, they needed at least 2 midfielders because towards the end of the season, their midfield kind of just fell apart. You can tell Thomas
Partey lost form.
Yeah.
Partey lost form. Maybe even had
go ahead.
Some niggling injuries. It's just the rotation, man. I do feel like Arteta, that's what's where his work needs to be done, is figuring out rotation,
depth,
and substitutions.
Yes. And can you get quality on the bench? Because if you don't have the options to make you better, I mean, they got Leandro Trossard, awesome.
Well, they just spent $65 million on Kai Havertz, who I think is a bench player for them.
Could be. Their depth is looking a lot better. So definitely going to need a center back, because we saw after William Saliba went out, they were a whole different team. They just leaked goals the whole rest of the season.
Well, it looks like they got him in Jurrien Timber.
Yeah. We'll get to that in a second. And then competition for Bukayo Saka, I would say, because they definitely need somebody to back him up that can either make him better or at least challenge him for some sort of playing time, because he played every single game.
Yeah, I mean, I guess isn't that what Reece Nelson is supposed to do?
Supposed to. But he also came in on the left, so I don't know if he's going to be right-sided, left-sided.
I also think Kai Havertz is the answer to your question right there as well, because I think Kai Havertz could also play on any of those front three.
Yeah. I think with Kai Havertz, his problem is he plays too many positions. He doesn't have one out-and-out position. So I think he needs to pick a position, or Arteta needs to pick for him, and have him master that one thing to get him back where he was in his Bayer Leverkusen days. Even for Chelsea. I mean, he's not a striker. He's not. So I don't think Arteta is going to play him as a striker. But
he might play him as a pair with Jesus at some point.
Yeah. Which leads to the other strikers in the Arsenal squad. I mean, you got a on-fire Florian Balogun coming back who wants playing time. You got Eddie Nketiah, who's been there, signed a new contract, wants more playing time. Neither one is better than Gabriel Jesus. So who's going to play? Do you keep either one of them? Do you sell them both?
So here's my thoughts on that. I would like to see, personally, Balogun stay at Arsenal. But if you get a 40 million bid from a club, I would say sell him.
Yeah, I mean, they need to recoup some money, especially if they want to bring in another player.
So let's go over their three transfers they've brought in. It's roughly 200 million. I mean, we can look at who they need to sell. Let's go through their
who could do that first.
Yeah, okay. Who could be going?
They have already sold Pablo Mari to Monza. Ainsley Maitland-Niles left on a free. They sold Granit Xhaka to Bayer Leverkusen. There's rumors about Thomas Partey potentially leaving if they get a bid of over 30 mil. You got Eddie Nketiah or Florian Balogun. You got the forgotten players in Albert Sambi Lokonga, Cedric, Nicolas Pepe, Alex Runnerson, Nuno Tavares, Mohamed El Nini, and then what was once called a wonder kid in Charlie Patino. He wants to play, so got to sell him too. And Rob Holding.
See, I don't see a lot of money there. No. Thomas Partey, if he does leave, then I would say they would need to bring in another midfielder. I would say, honestly, for me in that midfield, maybe starting Partey, Rice, Odegaard. Personally.
Yeah.
So I would like to see Partey stay. But if they do sell him, they've been rumored with Romeo Lavia, who I think would be a fantastic replacement.
100%.
Young kid.
The guy's, what is he, 19 still?
Yeah, 19.
Yeah.
Sambi Lokonga, I'm guessing he'll go out on loan. I think they want to get him out on loan, try to maybe get his price up a little more, his worth. So then they can sell him maybe. That would be my guess. Get him some playing time. Rob Holding, he should probably go.
Yeah,
Cedric.
Maybe 10 mil for Rob Holding.
Yeah, Cedric, good luck getting anything from him. He said he wants to fight for his place.
Not going to happen. He just wants to collect a paycheck.
Pepe, get whatever you can for Pepe.
Get his wages off the books. That's really the big thing there.
Yeah. Alex Runnerson, goalkeeper. Yeah, get him out of here. Get a few mil for him, maybe. Nuno Tavares.
I mean, he had an excellent season at Marseille.
He had a good first half of the season at Marseille.
Probably get a good price for him. He's still young. He's exciting.
How much do you think they'll get for him?
I mean, by good price, I mean maybe like 15, 20 mil. I'm not saying like an exorbitant amount, like
Yeah, I think
over
you're lucky
that.
if you get 15. If you get 15 for him, take it.
Yeah, he's he's linked to Monaco and West Ham right now. That they're talking 15, I think. I don't know what the price is. I think anyone comes in over 12, 13, you take it.
So the three players I would say you could actually get good money for are going to be Florian Balogun, if they do sell Thomas Partey, and then Kieran Tierney.
Yeah. So, well, I guess we can cover that now. I want to keep Kieran Tierney because bring in Jurrien Timber, who also can play that midfield pivot that gives Kieran Tierney more play time on the left. So if you just switch Zinchenko and Tierney and then
You
take
think
out
Timber's
Ben
going to
White,
come in and play midfield?
he play right back and be the pivot that goes into midfield,
I don't
the
think he will.
opposite of Zinchenko.
I
I
don't think
think
he
so.
will.
I
Not at
do.
all, man. I think Arteta's going to stick with Zinchenko doing that, not Timber.
Well, I'm just saying, rotation, like you said.
I mean, you think about it,
Gives
Tamayasu's
Tierney
played
more.
left back. He can cover there for if Tierney leaves.
Yes, but can he stay healthy? I mean, he was healthy his first season for about 3/4 of the season, and last year he was hurt 80% of the games. And then he, for some reason, became accident prone and made a bunch of mistakes.
I wouldn't say he was hurt for that long. I think you're exaggerating that. That's for sure.
Okay, it seemed like it.
But I'm not talking about injuries though. You gotta look at the cover though. I mean, so then
Yeah.
do you sell Tamayasu if he's that
No,
injury prone?
no, you keep him because he can play anywhere on
Why
that
not?
team.
If he's injury prone, sell him.
It's a great point.
I don't think you should. No, I think he's fine
No.
cover as a left back for Zinchenko. Because I mean, at right back you got apparently Cedric who wants to fight for a spot, Ben White, Jurrien Timber.
Yeah, and I guess either one of those can step in and fill in the shoes of William Saliba.
Exactly. Either it's Saliba or Gabriel. You have Timber. You have Ben White.
Jakob Kivior, he did great last year
Kivior
filling in.
Kivior has also played it as we saw left back.
Mm-hmm. I don't want him to, but he can.
So I think that's why they are willing to let Tierney go if an offer comes in. I'm with you. Like, don't get me wrong. Personally, I think he's a better left back. I think he should be having more opportunities. You know, especially at the end of last season when you see Kivior back there when Zinchenko got hurt, and you're like, "Where's Tierney at?"
Right? And speaking of injuries, I mean, he's had a terrible run of luck when it comes to injuries as well. It's just, he's so good and he's young. I absolutely love the guy, especially the passion he brings to the game. Defensively, he's much better than Zinchenko. I would argue that Zinchenko would be a better midfielder than he would be a left back.
At times, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe you bring Zinchenko in to be more of a backup to Thomas Partey. I'm just saying. And then you keep Tierney and Tomiyasu. I think that probably would be a better option.
But they got lots of defenders. Again, I think, as I said, Tierney's probably the only one you can get good money for.
Yes, I do agree with that. I mean, Charlie Patino, they could get good money for. I mean, the kid's still a teenager. He's got tons and tons of talent. Balogun, I think with the market, I think you probably get 50 mil for him.
I know that's what Arsenal's asking.
Yeah. And you
I
think
think
of the
they'll ask
market
that.
for strikers, his age, how he performed last year. I don't think that's absurd at all.
Same with Thomas Partey. I think you could get close to 50 mil, 40 mil.
I think so too, especially the way he played. But
I know
I would love
Juve
Arsenal to keep him.
Juve put a bid of 20 mil, which Arsenal rejected.
Like spitting in the face of Arsenal.
But what was it? Didn't a Saudi Arabia team come looking? Weren't they rumored for 55 or something?
And then he said he wanted to stay.
So I would keep Thomas Partey.
I would too. I mean, yes, he's not getting any younger. I think he's got 1 or 2 years left on his contract. They're not going to offer him more than another year extension. That's just what Arsenal do to anybody over 30. Yeah, I mean, you can nickel and dime it all the way to the bank with Cedric and Rob Holding and Mohamed El Nini. Alex Runnerson.
Yeah,
you might get for
3
them
to 5
combined,
mil for each of them. Yeah,
I was gonna say you might get 25 for all of them combined. Personally, I would love to see them keep Balogun, but you're not going to get 50 mil for Eddie Nketiah, so
no,
might as well keep him. Yeah, there's a lot of players that need to go, and I think you'll see that from now until maybe mid-July. See them try to sell a lot of players.
I think it'll come at the end of the transfer window. Teams kind of start to get desperate.
I think they'll try to get one more, maybe two, before the end of the preseason. So like late July, you see one or two more come in for Arsenal. I just don't know how much money they have left in the bank after spending 200 mil.
I definitely think they need to get rid of some. Yeah,
another 100 if they're bidding for Tchouaméni for 80 mil.
Honestly, yeah.
Because Lavia is going to cost you 50.
So say they do sell Thomas Partey, because I know that
another defensive midfielder.
They'll have to get another midfielder in for sure. Yeah. So let's go with some hypotheticals. Who do you got that they could bring in to that Arsenal midfield?
Kimmich. 40 mil is what their asking price is for him, for a guy that is
that's it. I think it's got to be closer to 60 or 80, man.
That's what the rumor is. 40.
I don't know if I believe that. You might have to show me that one.
I'm just going with what I hear from Fabrizio Romano.
You're hearing that from Santa Claus, not Fabrizio Romano, man.
Fabrizio Romano is like Santa Claus sometimes, okay? I just want him to say "Here we go" in a Super Mario voice. That's all I want to hear. So
he does do it.
Yeah. But yeah. So who would you? I mean, Romeo Lavia's got to be the. He's got to be the answer.
Nope, I think I got a better one, man. It's the guy who they went for in January who they didn't get. Moises Caicedo, man.
But has 100 mil.
It's going to be 80, 100.
100 mil for him.
If you have Moises Caicedo, Declan Rice, and Martin Odegaard, are you telling me that's not a?
No, that is up there with the Manchester.
I think that gives them a big leap closer 100%. To Manchester City.
I say the same thing with Joshua Kimmich as well. I mean, it's not as exciting as Moises Caicedo because of Caicedo's age.
Well, not only that, but
he's a proven.
I love watching Moises Caicedo, man. He is quality.
He's so exciting. But I mean, yeah, okay. For 100 mil, what if you only have 50 mil? Who are you going to go for?
Well, it sounds like that's what Romeo Lavia is going to cost us, somewhere around there.
That's why I was saying, is that the answer?
No. I feel like that's probably would be the route they would go.
Especially if you got to get two players in you got 100 mil to spend. I mean, unless they sell Balogun for 50, and then you're probably looking at 150, then you probably could go for a Caicedo.
You're saying if they sell Partey and Balogun plus all the fringe players?
And granted, they sold Granit Xhaka already, so I mean, yeah, why wouldn't they go for him then? But is he still available? That's the question.
Well, that's the big question. It seems like he wants to go to Chelsea. I know Man United have been sniffing around as well, which I don't know with what money.
Yeah, I don't know either. There's a lot of young midfielders out there. It's just which one fits what Arsenal needs. If they keep Thomas Partey, I still think they probably need another midfielder.
I don't think they do.
Who's backing up Thomas Partey?
Declan Rice.
Who's backing up Declan Rice?
Thomas Partey.
I meant as the 6.
You got Elneny, Jorginho.
I keep forgetting about Jorginho. Good point. Keep forgetting about him. And he had a good season too. So yeah, I guess, yeah. As long as Fabio Vieira steps up his game a little bit.
He definitely, you're 100% right there, man. There's some big question marks over Fabio Vieira. Did not perform last year.
You can see the talent is there. He's just so small. He gets pushed off the ball all the time.
I mean, I don't know if it's the small thing. Cause I mean, obviously Messi's small.
But Messi is also Messi.
But I'm just saying, you can be small and be a fantastic player.
Yes, it's more of the strength on the ball. He doesn't have it.
Not even that. Sometimes it's his technique, man. Like I've seen him miss a pass and stuff like that, have a bad touch.
Okay.
Have a wild shot, stuff like that. So I think it's sometimes his decision making, and I don't know if it's nerves, just inexperienced. But he wasn't cheap. What did he cost? Like 35 mil?
35 mil, and he'd only played a handful of games for Porto.
And so there's a big question mark for sure over Fabio Vieira. I also hope we can get Emil Smith Rowe back to his best, because he's definitely a player when he's in form.
That's who I was going to say maybe turn him into more of a 6. Because I want to see him play much more often, especially those bombing runs forward. Like that position, like the way Granit Xhaka played it last season, is absolutely perfect for Emil Smith Rowe.
And I think Emil Smith Rowe is much better on the ball than Granit Xhaka was.
100%. His finishing is much better. His passing is much better. It's just, can he stay healthy, and does he have that physical presence that Granit Xhaka had? Okay, so let's say you need a winger if you're Arsenal to back up Bukayo Saka. Reece Nelson either gets hurt again or isn't panning out. Not looking good in preseason.
So I'll start off. I don't think they need a backup for Bukayo Saka, because you think Gabriel Jesus can go over there, Trossard, Havertz. But just for name's sake, I'll tell you
for hypotheticals.
Again,
it's a dream fantasy world.
A dream fantasy world, huh? I'd love to see Moussa Diaby, obviously.
Yeah, I would too.
Maybe a Samuel Chukwueze from Villarreal.
Yeah.
I think he's being linked to somewhere in Italy right now. Again, a Michael Elise, a Brici Eze. You can even talk about a guy they were linked with from Barcelona, Ferran Torres or Rafinha. So there's lots of...
If I'm an Arsenal fan, I don't want Rafinha.
I don't want Rafinha either, but I know they've been linked with him, and he plays on that right side.
What about Wilfred Nanto, Kiro Matoma?
I don't see him going for Matoma. Matoma plays on the left too.
Then put Trossard on the right as a backup to Saka. Just saying, he fits that similar mold to Martinelli. So, but this final ball is so good.
Matoma's fantastic. Yes. I won't disagree with you, but
Wilfred Nanto, I don't think he would cost that
I think
much.
That's a cheaper option. Yeah, young Italian player,
raw
19.
Talent, 19. Yeah, but yes, I think Moussa Diaby is the clear front runner for that. Okay. Well, then, if you're saying Jurrien Timber is not a right back and he will play as a backup center back, who are you going to get to back up Ben White?
Well, I think they would use Timber also to back up Ben White. I mean, there's no rule they only have to back up one player.
Yes. But would you sign somebody else? I know they've been linked to a bunch of right backs.
Yeah, I know they've been linked with that right back from, was it Valladolid?
Fresneda. And then Jeremy Frimpong as well.
And so obviously I would be a huge fan if they got Frimpong, but...
Yeah, me too.
This isn't career mode, man.
No, it is not. It is not. Yeah, there's so many questions about who Arsenal are going to sell.
And they've also been linked with Cancelo from Man City.
Yeah, I don't think Man City will sell any more players to Arsenal. But I guess if you give them enough money...
Hold on. You got a little too close to us last year. We're not going to do that again.
Yeah, that was the rumor in January. Oh, we're not going to sell anybody else to Arsenal because they are doing too good with the players that we gave them.
Did you see the thing that came out here recently about why Gabriel Jesus wanted to leave Man City?
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you saw that. Yeah. About how
Pep Guardiola made him cry.
He played Zinchenko at striker. He's not a striker. I mean, he's got every right to be mad about that, but cry? I guess he's a very passionate person, so.
That's one way to put it. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, you see the look on his face when he misses something. It looks like his dog just got kicked in the head.
Oh my gosh.
I love the guy. He's fantastic. But the look on his face when he misses a chance drives me nuts.
Well, he missed a lot of chances, so.
I know. And I saw that face a lot, which is why it's burned into my head.
Dog got kicked a lot, huh?
Yeah. And you hate to see it. So, with all that, What do you guys think Arsenal need? Do they need a winger, another midfielder? Do they need anybody else? Have they won the transfer window? I don't think so yet, but I think they're not done. So let us know.
I think they've won the start of it. That's for sure.
They've definitely won. Yeah, the start of it, the first 3 weeks of it. That's for sure. Signing 3
or
players.
Chelsea, man, with how many players they've actually been able to offload.
I was gonna say that. It's just, can they buy the players they need to replace that? Because they've got rid of so many players. I don't even know if they have depth anymore.
They don't have a midfield, man.
Yeah, so they definitely need one. But we covered that in a previous episode. So if you want to listen to us talk about that, you gotta go check that one out. So expectations for next season for Arsenal.
Challenge for the title, top 100%. 4.
I don't think top 4 is good enough next season. Not with buying Declan Rice, Kai Havertz, and Jurrien Timber. I think it's top 2 or bust.
I think it's a different statement. They should be top 4 guaranteed after spending $200 million.
Yes. I think they spent over 150 last year too. So
yeah, and Ramsdale,
White,
Jesus,
Zinchenko. So yeah, I mean, they're spending a lot of money. They're getting in the right players. What does that turn into on the field? I'm very intrigued with Kai Havertz because the potential is there for him to be an amazing player.
It's there. We'll see if we get it.
Yes. Can Mikel Arteta unlock that? And he has with every player he's coached so far. But can you do it with a Kai Havertz that hasn't been at that level for 2, 3, 4 years? I don't know. It'd be interesting to see.
And then Champions League, man, they got to make it out of their group. That's for sure.
I think they'll make it out of their group. It's every time they've been in the Champions League for the last 8 years they were in it. Maybe not 8 years, but the last couple of years they were in it. They never got past the round of 16.
Because they face a Barcelona or Bayern Munich.
Yeah, I was just going to say, granted, they always drew a Barcelona or Bayern Munich. But I think it's get past the round of 16 because that's another hurdle. If you get past that, then the nerves of the knockout round, not quite there as much for a team that's not really been getting past that when they have been in the Champions League.
I think I disagree with you there, man. Once you get past the round of 16, then it's like the pressure intensifies because now you're in the quarterfinals and then the semis. Like,
yes,
no one wants to lose there.
It's gonna be the same pressure.
You're at the pointy end. I think it's more pressure
for a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you get to the semifinals and finals, I'm just saying, as far as nobody on that team's ever been in a knockout round of the Champions League.
Gabriel Jesus has.
Okay. Nobody besides the Manchester City players have. Okay.
Thomas Partey has for Atletico.
Jorginho as well. Okay. My what I said.
Making you eat your words now, aren't I?
Yeah. Stupid. Okay. I'll own up to it. But still, it's a lot of those players have never been in the Champions League, let alone into the round of 16 or further than that. So, yeah, sure, Declan Rice won a European trophy, but does that really count? I don't know. I mean, Zinchenko, the only two that have won a Champions League are Kai Havertz and Jorginho. So,
yeah, you're not wrong.
What does that say? So I don't know. I think, challenge for the title. And we'll talk more when we get into Premier League predictions, what I have a sneaking feeling of next season. And it's not about Arsenal. But I think get past the round of 16 is a win. I think Mikel Arteta will want to get to the semifinals, but I don't know if that's realistic. And I think winning a trophy, just a trophy.
I think that should be a goal as well. Yeah, an FA Cup, League Cup.
I don't care what it is.
Community Shield doesn't count.
No, it doesn't. But I also don't think the Carabao Cup counts either. I would still take it, but I don't think it really counts because no one takes it seriously. At least the big teams don't. So, FA Cup. Even if they get knocked down into the Europa League somehow, I think they have to win the Europa League if they do.
But they better not get knocked down, because we'll have to do an episode on the Champions League, the format this year, because it's going to be different.
Yeah, I think
it's not going to be the groups.
Once the draw happens, I think will be a lot more interesting, just to kind of see how that all breaks down, go over it. But yeah, trophy challenge for the title. That's a minimum for me, with spending another $200 million, and probably by the end of the transfer window will be $300.
You think so? You think another $100 million's going out the door, huh?
I do. All the players they're linked to and the bids they're supposedly putting in, I think it'll be around 300 by the time they get done. But I do think that Florian Balogun will be sold for 50. You might be onto something with a Kieran Tierney, but no one's put in a bid for him. Not even one. So I don't know about that one. And if they get everybody out the door, even if you get Nicolas Pepe off the books, I mean, that's a $20 million a season off the books. So it'd be interesting to see, nonetheless. So first 5 fixtures for Arsenal: August 6th, Community Shield against Manchester City. I would love to see them win that. I would. I know it doesn't count as a trophy, but it definitely kicks off your season quite well.
It's momentum.
Yes. Nottingham Forest at home to kick off the season. They go to Crystal Palace, play Fulham at home, play Manchester United at home, and then go to Everton.
Minimum of 12 points, man. The only one is at Man United.
I think so too, but the way Manchester United have started the last couple of seasons, I think 15 points is probably what you're looking at right now. I think so. I think Arsenal are just a better team than Manchester United right now, unless Manchester United get a world-class striker. And then that's a whole nother conversation.
I think they'll need new owners first.
Yeah, I do too, because the amount of money you're going to have to spend on a new striker, they're going to need that injection of cash. So, yeah, I think it's the same as Manchester City, man. I think they probably, United at home for them, they've won the last couple of seasons. They probably get 15, but I think 13 is a little more realistic.
I mean, they started out flying last season at the beginning, so yeah, we'll see if they can do it again, huh?
Yeah. I mean, they got all their players in for preseason. Everyone's healthy.
Yeah, Tomiyasu is actually back. There was talks he might miss preseason.
Yeah, I think the only person that's actually hurt is Nicolas Pepe. So,
well, no one cares about that.
Yeah, no one does. So.
But that brings us to the end of this episode, man. This was a fun one.
It was. I had
Make sure you guys, again, check out all of our socials: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. Check out the Redbubble. Get the merch so you can get that swag. Merch. I'm Targo. This is Redbeard. We love you guys. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Cheers.